Hi, I'm Jessica Szilagyi, publisher of thegeorgiavirtue.com. We're so excited to offer a compilation of videos this election season. The TGV Candidate Spotlight Series is an independent video feature produced with one goal in mind: providing voters with as much information as possible before they head to the polls. There's no agenda, we don't make endorsements, and we aren't beholden to any giant media corporation. The series is produced thanks to our advertisers and the generous donations made to the TGV Sunlight Fund and communities we cover. We extended an offer to all of the candidates seeking office this year, and to ensure the integrity of the questions and in fairness to all the opponents, every interview was recorded prior to the release of the videos in that race. For that reason, candidates who did not agree to an interview prior to the air date for their race will not be featured in this series. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget, you can find more content on this election cycle and much, much more on thegeorgiavirtue.com.
There's never been a better time to upgrade at Franklin Toyota. Hurry in and save big on our entire inventory of your favorite new Toyotas. All marked with the honest, transparent, and upfront pricing you've come to expect from Franklin. The price you see is the price you pay. No gimmicks and no games. Get it fast, get it fair, get it forever. That's the Franklin guarantee, because at Franklin, we're here for you. Visit us on Commerce Drive in Statesboro or shop our complete inventory online at franklintoyota.com. There's never been a better time to upgrade at Franklin Toyota. Hurry in and save big on our entire inventory of your favorite new Toyotas. All marked with the honest, transparent, and upfront pricing you've come to expect from Franklin. The price you see is the price you pay. No gimmicks and no games. Get it fast, get it fair, get it forever. That's the Franklin guarantee, because at Franklin, we're here for you. Visit us on Commerce Drive in Statesboro or shop our complete inventory online at franklintoyota.com.
Today we're chatting with Ben Thompson. He is a candidate for the Screven County Board of Commissioners. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about you and your family and your ties to Screven County?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a lifelong resident of Screven County. My family's been here since the 1900s, as far back as I can tell, pretty much in the same place. I lived in the country for 36 years prior to moving here to town a little over a year ago for my two daughters. Just due to it was so far out of town, and my wife working on the other side of town, and my oldest wanting to do cheer and dance and stuff like that. My family is owned a small farm, a little wildlife feed and seed business. Me and my wife, we've been together since 2002 as a couple in high school. We got married about 11 years ago. Like I said, we've got two daughters, 1 7, 1 2. I'm currently employed at the Savannah River site as a nuclear maintenance first line manager. I manage all of S area or DWPA. She works at the Bank of Newington. And I got into wanting to run for commissioner just based off of just some issues that I had with transparency, stuff that was going on. And I've always been of the mindset that you shouldn't complain about the problem if you're not willing to be part of the solution. And that's really what got me into running for commissioner. And I've always kind of wanted to. I figured there was no time like the present.
So local government is unique. You don't have the high profile issues that we see on the national level, but there are really important issues that impact the community, and how you handle those is pretty much what the essence of the job. So how would you describe your job as a county commissioner? How would you describe the role that you are seeking to take on?
Number one, you've got to make sure you obey the laws, no matter whether it's the most minute thing or huge laws. You need to follow those to the T first of all. And I know the standard playbook of the commissioners are to set the policies, set the budgets, decide how the money's spent. But for me, the number two thing is to not forget that you are a public servant. You're a representative of the people that chose to use their vote to elect you, that had faith in you to cast that vote for you out of everybody else that ran. And you should be listening to their voice, their opinion. It's their money. If they want it spent fixing something else, and you have an idea that this needs to be fixed, not what they want, you can explain it to them and explain why you think it, but if they still want this fixed, it's ultimately their money and you're their representative. So you need to be aware of their voice at all times and carry out the will of the people, as long as it's by the law, which I don't think any of the public that I've talked to since I've been walking around campaigning, going door to door, that any of them have a desire to break the law by any means. But that's my top two for that.
What would you say are the top issues affecting Screven County, or the basis of your platform seeking the commission seat?
My first priority is the lack of transparency that we have now. It's been stated, that there is transparent. All you got to do is call, certain people if you got a question. You shouldn't have to call anyone. It should be available for the public at any time. I want to see the meetings move from once a month at 9 a.m. when nobody that works for a living or doesn't own their own business can attend, to back like it should be 2 times a month at 6 p.m. when the working man and woman can come to the meeting, see what's being done, voice their concerns, and be able to be involved in it. And I also want to see the long-standing feud between the city and the county ended. It's absolutely ridiculous that we haven't resolved this yet. The way I know my opponent, he's a big numbers guy. I'm a big analogy guy because it just makes sense for me. But if you think about it, the county's the body and the city's the heart. If your body and your heart are fighting each other, neither are going to live long. And I know it's not a quick fix and it won't be a one-term fix, but I want to see Screven County progress forward and grow at a rate that's feasible and not too fast or too slow. But my number one thing, and especially from what I've talked to everyone who I've spoken with, is the lack of transparency. No one knows what's going on. Nobody has any idea of where to go to find anything. And everyone I talk to says that they've never seen anybody. They hear about the meeting, a week or two later. They get the minutes a month later. And by that point, everything's done and set in stone and it's over. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be available to them all the time. I know that it was stated before, and it really bothers me, that they decided there wasn't enough business for 2 meetings, so they took a vote to go to 1 meeting in the morning. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't think there's enough business. If there isn't but 1 voter that shows up at that meeting and says, hey, I've got a problem with this, this, and this, then that's what you're there for. And if you can't be inconvenienced to be at the courthouse twice a month for an hour or 2 at 6 p.m. where the voter can voice their concerns, see what's going on, and ask questions, then you shouldn't be there.
We saw with the landfill that one of the biggest issues was that, there were conflicting documents with what the county had on file and how those documents went with code sections and statutes and ordinances. And of course, there's a Planning and Zoning Commission too, and then you have the public's opinions and then your own values and principles. So I guess the question is, how would you approach planning and zoning issues and taking into account all of those parties and players and opinions when making decisions, and also balancing the rights of a landowner and what they can do and cannot do on their own property?
Like growing up on a small farm, I do value, the owner's property rights. It's your land, you're paying taxes on it. You should be allowed to do what you want. However, I do think that the zoning and planning board, they've been doing some updating. They've been doing a good job right here lately, being fluid with changes and trying to keep up. It's a real blurry line because, like I said, I want to be able to do what I want to do with my property. But then again, I personally was against the landfill. I didn't want the landfill here. I didn't think it was a good idea. So I was happy to see that it didn't make it because of the planning and zoning type stuff that was here. Like I want to see Screven advance. I want to see houses. I want to see subdivisions, but I also want to see it the right way, not just everybody throwing up a condominium on a quarter acre or any business whatsoever just showing up and being able to, you get through the regulations and all.
Based on the services that are provided to Screven County citizens, and then what property taxes are and what you pay in fees and things of the sort, Do you think that taxpayers are getting a good return on their investment?
Um, that the decline in population is really putting a strain on everyone as far as taxes go, because the millage rate is having to come up to compensate for the lack of tax dollars being paid in by the population, which is going down due to high taxes and lack of jobs. So it's a double-edged sword. I do think that as far as for what you're paying for your taxes, the return on investment, I would say, pretty decent on it. It's the land here is nice. It's holding its value good. I think most of it, except for some things right here lately, are pretty fairly priced. As far as what the tax, I would love to see the tax dollars. Like I would need to get into the budget and get a little more familiar with exactly line by line what's laid out, what the expenditures are. And I have some of them, but I would like to see that go back into putting money into the county workforce, because it's hard for us. Like I work for the city of Sylvania right out of high school, and also work for the DOT. So I know it's not just a localized issue as far as those workers not being paid enough, but I would like to see some of that tax dollars try to go back into them programs to where we could pay to have the skilled employees and good employees that we need to run the county.
That's a great segue into my next question. Obviously, cities and counties everywhere are always dealing with how to set a competitive wage, what that competitive wage looks like, and for what types of jobs. But do you feel like there's anything Screven County could be doing to get more qualified and competitive?
I think like right now it's going to be real hard to compete with Effingham, because I have friends, very close friends, that are in the law enforcement, firefighters are in both counties, Effingham and Screven, and I know for a fact that the Effingham County guys make a ton more than the Screven guys. However, we can't afford to keep up with Effingham's money, but we do need to figure out a way to attract new employees, maybe get employees that are for right now, that are like getting towards the end of their career, to have 10 or 15 years left with benefits, working conditions, vacation packages, things like that, until we can build the county up with the jobs and get the tax money to be able to raise the pay rates. Yeah, I know you can't take in $5 a year and think you're going to spend $100,000. You've got the going in's got to match the going out, a little more going in than out. But we definitely do. We have an Asian workforce in the county, and it's going to need to be replaced. And it's very, very hard this day and time. And I can speak from my own personal experience, being a manager at the plant, to find the blue collar style worker. And it's even harder now to attract good quality blue collar workers, or ones that are willing to train new guys with no experience, if you can't pay, top dollar for them. So we're up until we can afford to, the county can improve to where it's got excess money for that budget. We've got to figure out a way with, benefits packages, working conditions, something to attract, maybe the older employee, to be able to offset the less experienced, cheaper employee that we could hire.
If you're south of Macon, this is a problem. So it's going to be an ongoing issue if you're elected to be commissioner. What do you tell people when they say, what are we going to do about roads? How are we going to maintain them? How are we going to do a better job maintaining them? What's your answer to that?
Well, I haven't traveled every single mile of every single road in the county. I can tell you that there are some places that do need repairing. Dirt roads are always going to be an issue because there's just so much to maintain. But however, not all the roads are in just complete disrepair. It's not like it's a third world country and you can't hardly get down the road.
Right.
I would say that we need to look at the areas that we've patched multiple times, because there's no way anybody can put on paper a number for me to tell me that we can patch something 20 times cheaper than we could just fix it one time right. If you start one job, finish one job, put out one fire at a time instead of scattering your ashes throughout the wind, you're going to save money and deliver a better product, and you don't have to go back. I know it's hundreds of thousands of dollars a mile to repave roads, and I'm not saying start at one end of the county, grind it up, and all new, brand new downtown Atlanta highways. But the areas that are constantly needing patching, constantly needing repairs, we need to look at those and fix that section correctly one time, the right way. And if that means that you've got a road that's it's pretty good. It could use topping off, but aesthetically and it needs maybe a little improvement. But as far as functionality wise, it's good to go. Then skip that road to fix the bad spot. Just because it looks pretty for this road to be brand new, fresh, black top, bright yellow lines, fix the hole that the little old lady ran off in and destroyed her car that she's barely got enough money to keep anyway. And at the Meet the Candidates meeting, there was a thing brought up about scraping the roads, pulling the ditches, stuff like that. And they were saying, a few of the current commissioners were saying they didn't know if it was maybe a lack of training or not. I don't know how many of those commissioners have ever personally ran a motor grader. I have when I worked with the DOT. Wasn't very good at it, I can tell you. But there is a reason why when you look at most of these large construction sites or road crews that the gentlemen or ladies that are running these things are older. It takes a ton of skill. You don't just train anybody to do that. You don't pick that up in a year, 2 years, or 5 years. It is a very finite skill. So that's always going to be a big issue because it never fails. If you ever want it to rain and you're in a drought, just start scraping roads and it will flood. I can guarantee it.
Why do you want this job? I know that you mentioned that you, if you're going to have, complaints or take note of problems, that you want to be part of the solution. But it's a tough time to be an elected official everywhere, everywhere you go. So why now? Why do you want this job? Tell us.
I truly, when I tell people that I truly love this county and love this city and love living here, I really do. And I want nothing but the best for the citizens here. I've been here my entire life, and I love it. I love small town Screven, but I see it from what it was when I was a teenager. A little older after that, a little before that. I've just seen the steady downward turn in it, and I know that's it's had several, the economy crashing back in the early 2000s. Those type of things have affected it, and people moving away. But I don't want to see Screven County or Sylvania disappear into nothing. I want my 2 kids to stay here. I've talked to so many grandparents throughout Sylvan Heights here that are so excited that they're going to get to see their grandkids for the first time since Christmas. And I don't want that. I want my kids to be here. I want to be able to drive to go see my kids. I also want people here to be proud of being in Screven County. I want them to, when the people ask them where they're from, I want them not to go, it's easier to tell you that I'm in between Savannah and Augusta, closer to Savannah. I want them to name where they're from. I want them to be able to make a living working here. I want to see growth. I want to see prosperity. But I really want to see the local government do what it's supposed to do and go back to working for the people and not to look at it as, what is perceived as a personal possession, like they're managing it like this, that, their type of thing, which seems to be the perception from everybody I've talked to. And, being in the media that, perception is reality, whether it's true or not. If it's perceived as such, it is such. And it takes a ton to convince that people otherwise. But the main reason that I want to run is I want to see the government start working for the people, start getting along to help the county forward. Like when I go to every single city council meeting since I've been here for the past couple, I'm gonna say since almost right before Christmas, and their meetings are so professional, so nice. They get stuff done, they make progress in their meetings. But then I go to the commissioners' meetings, and when I can't go, I'll watch them, live online, and they're going nowhere. There's just no solidarity amongst them whatsoever, and it's a horrible, horrible image to be cast out on the public. And people have lost faith in them. Like there's no trust in the county commissioners. There's a handful here and there that are really pro candidates or either been longtime friends of the candidate's family, but the general consensus is no one has any faith in the commission to do anything good because all they do is argue. I mean, they just, quite frankly, temper tantrums are thrown. People are speaking that don't need to speak, that should be seen, not heard. And the only time they should be heard is if we need advice, then they should answer it. It's almost, it goes back to the old saying, there's way too many chiefs and not enough Indians in this tribe.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot in a short amount of time, and I'm sure there's more that we could discuss. But is there anything else in particular that you want voters to know about you before they head to the polls on May 24th?
like I told everybody, I want everybody just to get out there and vote. I'd love for you to vote for me. You know, I'm just as proud of one vote as I am for every single one of them, because that means that somebody, a complete stranger, had enough faith in what I told them and what they found out about me to use our greatest right that we're given, cast it on me. I just want people to get out there and vote. Use this right. Don't just sit at home because you don't know myself, you don't know John, you don't know any of us, or you don't think either one of us could do a good job. Still get out there and vote. And I just want people to vote, pray about it, do what's on their hearts, do what they think's right. Just go cast a vote for who you think's right. And I hope you think I'm right, because I would love my chance to show you and show the public that when I say it, I mean it. I say what I mean and I do what I say. And that's how I've always been and always will be. And other than that, there's nothing else I can really say to them on that.
One more thing, where can people learn more about you? You have a campaign Facebook page, right?
Yes, ma'am. I have an Elect Ben Thompson Facebook page, and if they want to message us through that, they're more than welcome. They can get my personal cell phone number. I'm never too busy to come see someone. I'm never too busy to talk to someone. If I don't have an answer, I'm going to tell you that I don't know. I'm not going to sit there and lie and make stuff up or beat around the bush. I'll tell you I don't know, and then I'll do everything I can to find out and get it back to you. But they can reach me there. Like I said, get my personal number, get any number they need, or I can come see them at any time if they want me to. I'm 100% available for them whenever.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and we wish you the best of luck between now and May 24th.
Well, I sure do appreciate it, and thank you for the chance for the interview.
Thank you so much for chatting with us, and best of luck to you in the election.